and we all were, and the times we lived, and the people who in struggle we got to know. But I think it's something that's very important that we need to remember between then and now. When we were young and campaigning for civil rights, and civil rights like Brexit, I do have to say it here because there's a wee thing in the back of my head annoying me, and I'm going to get rid of it now and then get on with it, is that people continue to talk, whatever they think. People on this side of the non-existent hard border, soft border, we end not getting no border after Brexit, still think in a totally partitionist mind. And the conversation today has actually reflected that. That the idea of the country, the struggle, has been confined to, by and large, what is happening in 26 of the counties of the constitutional nation, as opposed to the constitutional state. So as a member of a constitutional nation, I would think going forward that has to change. And I don't mean that in a narrow nationalist sense. I mean that if we are to begin to see that in terms of solidarity and global struggle, we would need to at least see the island as an island, and not be like, I don't know if any of you saw, and I digress a bit, the Brexit secretary who's been negotiating Brexit for 2 years has just realised that Great Britain is an island. And that if you want to get food across from Europe, it comes in from Dover to Calais. And that if you're pulling out of town, they might close the gate on the tunnel. And you just say, please. But it's a mentality. But going back to my main point, how did I get from there to here? You either learn in the course of struggle that the principles apply to everybody. You either learn in the course of struggle that every right you demand for yourself is a right that you must afford to every other human being. Or you inevitably, down the end of the road, become part of a very significant problem. So if you say the rights are mine because I'm an Irish person in Ireland, the rights are mine because I'm a Catholic who doesn't have any, the rights are mine because I'm a woman, somewhere down the line, that narrow thinking is going to be a problem for everybody else. So when you start out, as most people do, defending their rights because they don't have any, or defending the rights of their nearest neighbour because of human solidarity, and they like that neighbour, you inevitably come to two positions. You come to a human rights perspective, and in my book you come to a human rights perspective in the context of socialism, as opposed to in the context of capitalism, because there's a contradiction between a global and national system that is organised around money being more important than human beings. So that's my excuse anyway, once you start out to campaign and begin to understand that a human rights and equality perspective must underpin all ideologies, that human rights perspective will sit more easily in a view that says the world is created for human beings, and that money is merely a vehicle, a currency through which the value of our labour is measured and the value of our solidarity can be extended. So very briefly then, how did I get from all the Parliament then down to the neighbourhood? I was always there. That's where I always belonged. That's where my own thinking has always been. That if you cannot, it's not enough. It's not enough to be right. It's not enough to have all the answers about what will happen after the revolution. Human beings have to get from today till tomorrow People have been talking here today about how difficult it is for homeless people, for travellers, for new immigrants. If in the small everyday life of people who are getting it in the neck, those of us in struggle don't have time to help, what are we doing? What are we doing? We're saying, look, your problem is most interesting. I'll raise it at the next conference. So the work that I ended up doing, because I couldn't bear the look of the Good Friday Agreement, I told you where that would end, and it has ended there. That was a circular route to the institutionalizing of the sectarian management of conflict. That people didn't want it to be that way, but that's the way it was. So what we do in the South Tyrone Empowerment Programme is we help our neighbours with the knowledge and the wisdom that we have because we've lived here longer, to exercise, to know what their rights are. We exercise the solidarity of standing with them to defend those rights. And as far as it can be defended, to get a solution for today and tomorrow, for the individual, for the family, but for the day after and the next day, to build a grassroots movement of solidarity that says people have rights. Somebody said you can't have your rights, somebody earlier this afternoon, can't get your rights unless you can buy them. If you bought it, it's not a right. It's a privilege you got with money. So we need to know the difference between our rights. So it's hard in this short way to say what we do, but what we fundamentally do is nobody who walks into our centre is allowed to walk away unaided, unhelped for today and tomorrow, and encouraged to join part of the movement that will change the year after and the year after that. And we do it socially, economically. We encourage everybody who comes in to register for the vote and to join a union. Then we look at the homeless problem for today and tomorrow. We encourage everybody who comes in to retain their mother tongue, to retain their self-identity, and to learn English if they don't have any. Then we ask them to join the homeless group, the workers group, the women's group, and so bit by bit from grassroots organising. When we're building that movement, when a revolution comes knocking, we'll be there.
Thanks, Bernadette. And what I want to do is just to ask